What's this? Our vanilla expanded videos are doing well. Well, you know what that means. Oh, wrong button. Meant to tell Brent to start work on the Alpha Mod video. Don't blame you all for constantly telling us to do it. They are awesome. So yeah, dance and celebrate for today's video. So for the two people who don't know about the Alpha series of mods, well, think of them as the Vanilla Expanded sibling mod. Vanilla Expanded works to be a balanced, almost DLC-like series of mod. Alpha series, meanwhile, is more out here, possibly not as balanced, but just as high quality. They also tend to have a bit more focus on the weirder or more sci-fi elements of Rimworld. Either way, most people will tell people that if you play with VE, you should also play with Alpha, and today we will go over all the Alpha mods, and in some cases, how they relate to Vanilla Expanded. So please sit back, relax, and enjoy. So, starting off, we have Alpha Animals. We previously talked about all the VE animals, but the Alpha animals not only are bigger, but it also has more animals that actually do things beyond adding a new type of meat and leather. To be honest, with well over 100 animals, I don't think it would be wise to go over each individual one. Instead, we will talk about some of the more interesting ones you might want to look out for in your next playthrough. Starting off, a favorite for us Pokemon lovers, the Pebble, Crystal, and Boulderman. These three have a couple of things in common. 1. They look like the Pokemon Dwebble and Crustle. Oh gosh, I'm saying them wrong. They also can act as a source of stone, including ones not found in your current region. Finally, tanky as a tank made of tank. Well, at least the Boulderman. Seriously, even the description says they are peaceful creatures with predators dying of old age rather than actually killing the living mountain. So how can you best use them? Well, Boulder and Pebblemits are herbivores, and the Pebblemit will drop a single stone brick of any type as a harvest. Bouldermits drop full-on stone chunks. As for the Crystal Mitt variant, they only eat stone itself and shed bricks, so it might be good if you have a huge mining operation. Oh, and one more thing. Sometimes you might get an event where a huge Bouldermit shows up and will crush anything in their path. My advice? Don't even try to melee them. It can and will crush them. Still a cool animal from this pack, even if you can't train the Bouldermits as the ultimate bodyguard. Now for more technological-based animals, there is the Tetra Slug, Slurrypede, Slurry Master, and the Wayward Mobile Assembler. These are useful technology animals. The Tetra Slug is extremely slow, but it packs a huge punch if you can make it hostile. The main reason to have one is to keep it near your batteries, as being near batteries lets it recharge them for free. Not a bad way to top off some emergency power sources. The Slurrypede, meanwhile, is a mobile nutrient paste dispenser, except for one thing. These were designed by mechanoids to keep organics alive. Yeah. Taste is not top priority, and this paste is actually worse tasting than normal paste, believe it or not. A good way to keep a stock of the last resort meals, but your colonists may hate you for it. Oh yeah, I can already see Ted smashing in my door and coming on stage to stop! If you have VE mechanoids installed though, you can also find the Slurry Master, an improved variant that gives out proper nutrient paste meals. Yeah, there you go, Ted. This is the one I would recommend keeping, as nutrient paste is always useful and beats food poisoning. See, Ted? This one's better. Finally, the Wayward Mobile Assembler. These assemblers for free will give out random resources from components, chocolate, chemfuel, devil strand, synthread, explosive shells, and much more. Yeah, the good stuff. You never know what you get each harvest cycle, but having them nearby could give you resources you actually can find use in. Wow, there's a lot of junk on stage now. The Cinder, Blizzard, Anima, and Feralus are spiders of unusual size who are complete nightmare fuel to arachnophobes. So why are they here? Well, in the lore, they were designed to make synthread in an organic way. Those planets are now marble worlds. Yeah, a real nuke 'em from orbit situation. Feral and animalisks can provide a source of synthread if you tame them. Cinderlisks provide their own unique cinder silk that's pretty high quality, and blizzard discs, while they hate the heat, if you can keep them alive and well, provide hyperweave. Oh, and by the way, the animalisk are herbivores. Great. They also eat anima trees and grass by choice. Yeah, not great. At least you can feed them grass if you want it, but your poor anima tree. Anima scream. Though what you might not want is the Feralist Mother event, where a Feralist Mother will show up and continue to lay charged eggs. These eggs will hatch fast and naturally. You got a bunch of little spiders that want to eat everything. Recommended you kill them all ASAP, just watch out for their webs. Luckily for you, there are plenty of animals that are out there which make for better ranch animals. Stuff that can provide materials to help out throughout your games, like the cactipine. Yeah, this one is weird. Part rat, part cactus, all confusing. Vegetarian meat? I don't know. Bring one on stage. What does it look like? It's this thing. Oh, can I touch it? Oh, I better not. Take it away, Brent. Ooh, okay. They provide vegetarian meat if butchered, but also medicinal quills. Brent, bring it back. Over time, that act as an alternative to herbal medicine. Here, turn it into herbal medicine. Ooh, it poofed. Oh, it's a herbal medicine. That part I poked myself. Put it there. Yeah, all right, back to work. The Lucifer bug is a new way to get Luciferium. Ow. Over time, you can harvest it from them. The downside, if you kill them, they burst into a cloud of Luciferium nanites that inflict the addiction on anyone caught in it. Use with caution. Well, I guess Ted's not with us anymore. Teratogenic originators are huge masses of flesh that over time allow you to get mutagenic limbs. Yeah, a pretty useful thing in tribal or medieval playthroughs when you need a way to fix limbs, but a kind of a weird way to harvest limbs, and this from the guy who organ farms pawns. Radyaks are a useful milk animal that also provide chunks of uranium you can process at chem fuel refineries. Reminds me of Fallout 4. Easily a top-tier farm animal for providing milk and good material. Devil's sheep, meanwhile, is a source of devil strand, and despite what the lore says, they are just farm animal sheep. The red eyes are a bit unnerving, I admit. It's just staring at me. Aerofleets is a fan favorite as a cute floating jellyfish. Does it sting? Will it hurt? Jellyfish that explode when killed. Alright, well, don't let it die on stage. They also provide blue meat. Okay, real reason they are loved is the blue gel they can harvest, which can be processed into cores and used as a high power source. Best part is they reproduce asexually, so you always have a supply of them for trade or more gel. Just do be careful if you plan to cull them. Good way to destroy half the colony. Take it away. Stop bringing animals on stage. We're talking about them. We don't actually need them here. Go, shoo. Also, they can arrive by an event where a unique colossal aerial fleet, Brad, what the heck, will show up and be tamed. Or get it, I'm trying to read. Or you can do target practice on the group for explosions. Don't blow it up on stage. Holy crap. So I'm in my office now. The stage got blown up. We're gonna do the rest of it from here, and hopefully no one can get in here. I locked the door. All right. There are insectoids, big black variants of our favorite insectoids with black scarabs, spilipedes, and mega spiders. They also come with two new insectoids, the mega slice and the mega worm, which I'm sure by how it looks, it's a huge tank of insects, and I really hope they can't get in here. So yeah, you are gonna get raided by black hives, but it's not all bad. The hives, when destroyed, provide black insect jelly, which pawns love, and butchering the insectoids provide black chitin, which acts as a high-tier leather variant. Here, take a look at it. Let me turn my monitor towards you all. See? There you go. See it? There you are. It's a thing. All right, we're just gonna zoom into the monitor and continue from here. All right? But that's not the creature that provides the best leather. That would be the Galatros. Huge, and I do mean huge masses of muscle that scream, try it and see. If you're brave, or more likely stupid enough to attack one of them, you will unleash hell upon your colony, a creature that pummels and even has a ranged attack. Ooh, kinda makes Thrumbos seem like mufflers in comparison. Now, let's see. According to my notes, I'm supposed to talk about the mimes. Okay, yeah, I might as well, since usually me and my writers disable them, but mimes. Burps. You know how sometimes you get colonists who show up randomly and all seems well and then you eat them? Well, anyways, keep an eye on them if they seem to eat a lot of food. Excuse me. You might have a mime hiding amongst your colony and they will continue to eat. At least till they run out of food. Then they turn on you straight nightmare fuel. Yeah, I don't like it. Most people turn this off in the mod options for a reason, but yeah, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention it at least. Last on the list is the compatibility with vanilla expanded sidecasting. You get 4 new paths of sidecasting for your pawns to learn and utilize in battle, some of which related to the corrupting nature of the ocular forest, the savagery of the many animals with the Ravager. Yes, you guys know the ocular forest, you know, the eyeball trees and stuff. Alright, moving on, the intelligence and latest psionics of the Xenosneer. Yes, my favorite herald of the Black Hive, harnessing the power of the Black Hive to call upon allies from below as your own. Here, let me just pet it. Certainly a good bonus if you play with Psycast to have more options. Obviously, there are more animals, and this pack constantly gets new animals. Wouldn't surprise me if during the creation of this video, more get added. So let's know in the comments what your favorite from them are, and I'm gonna get out of here before this pet of mine is less pet and more enemy. Alright, let's get out of this forest. Now, alpha biomes are where it's at for more exotic locations to set up shop. Not only adding new biome mechanics to deal with, but also new wild. Because hey, why not add more animals to your game? Let's go take a walk in my park. 12 biomes as of writing have been added to the game, and each vary in terms of difficulty. From easiest, we have the idyllic meadows, a warm lush paradise with barely a predator, and illness. It also has flowers of unusual size. Take a look at this. Hopefully bees of unusual size don't come and ruin our day. The meiotic jungle is a forest of giant mushrooms, a bit more challenging since wood isn't going to be as common. Plus, there are huge mushrooms that rain deadly spores down on anyone unlucky enough to take a shower. But hey, if you are a fun guy, it's a fun place to be. Alright, let's get the heck out of here. Back to the office. The tar pits are arid, but actually have a good variety of trees. Here, take a look at my screen. Alright. Here we are. Play things right, you can utilize the tar around the area. Just be careful of the wild beehives. You might have a bad time if you get too close. Finally, in easier places to live in is the gelatinous superorganism, a huge area of slime. There is no stone here, just slime. The rocks are hardened slime, which turn into slime meals. Yeah, structure might be a problem living here, but hey, food won't be a problem. Moving on to tougher regions, the ocular forest is a land of strangeness. Red and eyes. Seriously, oh yeah, seriously, the hills have eyes, got nothing on this. Anyways, the Galatros graveyard is the final resting place of the mighty, you guessed it, Galatros. Here, it's mostly arid shrubland, pretty easy to live in, all things considered, though picking a fight with the aging kaijus is ill-advised. Yeah, that's right, I said kaijus. Then there is the mechanoid intrusion, lost evidence of mechanoid plans to alter the planet. We already knew they were trying to do that. You know, we've seen the remnants everywhere. Here, barely a speck of life exists. No stone to be found, but plenty, and I do mean plenty of scrap metal to smelt down and utilize. For even harder base locations, the miasmic mangroves might be my least favorite. Horrible wetlands that not only is hard to build on, it's full of so many illnesses, your pawns are going to be out of commission with the flu every other day. So make sure you make lots of penicillin. Yes, make sure they're on it if you're going to be here. The Forsaken Crags is a dark land of nocturnal predators and luminescent plants. A difficult place to navigate and survive in, but hey, if your pawns love the dark, it might be considered a good home. Not me. I like to praise the sun. That's why we're here in my office. Then there are the propane lakes, the paradise of Hank Hill, as this ice-cold region has the coldness of sea ice. Yes, propane and propane accessories. However, unlike sea ice, there are actually plenty of unique plants and material you can use to make a home here. The propane lakes themselves can actually be harvested for power, as you see here, or just fueling certain things, as you see here. Actually could be good if you want to ease into sea ice life, but want a few extra comforts at home. Finally, the extreme biomes. Here, let's get out of the office and go check one of these out. It could be cool. All right, here. Oh, yep, let's go. The ones that actually test people's skills in managing getting a proper base, guys. The pyroclastic conflagration. Where is hell on earth? Where are we? Literally a volcanic expanse that is full of constant heat waves, volcanic ash, oh yeah, and lots of lava that can and will set everything you love on fire. Also lots of exotic animals that too can set your stuff on fire. If you do plan to move here, have a plan, and for the love of Randy's left ear, don't build with wood. Going to somewhere cooler. Oh yeah, we get to leave. But just as dangerous as the Fairless jungles, you think the jungles in Rimworld are dangerous, you ain't got nothing here. This is the kind of land that Katachian jungle fighters train on, as the name implies it's full of Fairless. Mostly jungle variants that do provide synthread. They also launch webs that do acidic damage to prey before coming in and killing them. My advice, compound up and wait for night. At night they sleep and you can collect resources when it's safer, if you can believe it, of course. Brent likes to use the Fairless jungle for his more OP mod playthroughs, both to defend himself but also for the hilarity of a raid getting eaten alive by giant arachnids. And I think this is fun and all, but I haven't seen the arachnids eat people, so we'll have to talk to Brent about that one. I mean, they eat people, I just haven't seen them randomly killing raiders. This mod is pretty cool. It includes new animals to go with alpha mods. The locals are varied and add a bit more spice to the gameplay, and each one feels like it could fit on a Rimworld. Love to see more added in the future. Alpha bees. So, to go a little classic, time to talk about bees, which may or may not be a deadly bee weapon. Bees, my god. Yeah, alpha bees provides you with what else? Bees, honey, and a variety of waxes. Actually a pretty cool way to get resources in a different way, all starting from harvesting hives. Yeah, first you gotta harvest the hives out in the wild, mild and temperate beehives, and after you harvest and process them, you get a supply of starting honey, comb and drone, and princess bees. Really, it's simply at that point, just make hives and put them in. Pawns will tend the bees and collect their honeycomb using animal skills. Of course, what's not simple is the amount of work needed to combine and make the newer bees. See, if you go through the research and make hybrid chambers for the apiaries, you can start crossbreeding them, starting with mild and temperate princesses, and drones to make hybrid and amalgam bees, and from there you crossbreed those with each other to begin the process of different lines of bees. Bees to make materials, bees to make metals, food, drugs, and many more. We won't go over every set of bees. I mean, there is a whole lot, not to mention plenty of mod support to further add bees. I will say a bit of advice when setting up apiaries for some bees. It's usually a good idea to check what they need. Some bees, like the metal bees, can use materials they can make in their combs, so you might have to keep stockpiles in certain areas for them. You also could go into the mod options to negate issues like if it's raining, temperature issues, night and day cycles, and even if the bees require certain things around them to actually make honeycombs. Though don't think that's all you can do with bees. If you have the vanilla expanded genetics, you can make proper bee hybrids with animals, that's right. You can make the god bee, a thrumbo bee hybrid that is so powerful that utilizing it, I'm pretty sure, is breaking a few Geneva conventions. Don't know, don't care, and I know you don't either. Though personally, I think the boomalope bee hybrid is more evil. It injects victims with chem fuel that is completely messed up in my opinion, but in all seriousness, I like this combo. The bee hybrids have their own use, provide their variant of honeycomb, which usually gives the good resources, and to be honest, they are kinda cute, in a horrific scientific abomination type of way. Really, the Rim Bees experience might be a good game type try, and go through the game utilizing nothing but material obtained by bees. The honey provides a method of preserving veggies and meat in honey. You can make honey meals that even the basic ones make pawns happy. Wax is a lovely looking material, though unless you get the more advanced wax is not the most durable. And yeah, totally a cool mod that I'm sure more people are now downloading even as I speak. If you aren't, then beware of the god bee's wrath. I kid, that wrath is reserved for the wasp people. They know what they did. Moving on to alpha mythology, you get a pretty sizable animal pack with mythological creatures that wouldn't be too out of place in a Pathfinder game. Actually, if you are a little more old school and wondering why this seems familiar, that's because Alpha mythology originally was made as magical menagerie, and we were planning to do a video on it, but things kind of fell through. We even had the whole script written. My goodness. Still, at the very least, we get to talk about it here as Alpha mythology. Finally got around to it. You get a wide variety of awesome animals like the mighty Minotaur, who can stamp and the ground and cause tremors. The great Hydra, whose poison is enough to make even mighty demigods like Hercules weep in pain. And for your pawns, well, do be careful if you plan to fight them. They regenerate wounds and are pretty tanky. The salamander is the perfect pet in an Arctic environment. After all, they exude so much heat, they might turn your rec room into an oven. The eggs also do the same and explode when hatched. Okay, so maybe they aren't the perfect pet. What is a good pet is the kitsune, a nuzzling nine-tailed fox who can heal the wounds of nearby pawns. Yeah, that's a good fox. No wonder we worship them. There are much more in the pack, and some with a few more exotic mythological creatures I just learned about, like the Quilin. I probably said that wrong. The Chinese draconic deer unicorn thing. I can't say the name right, but you get what I'm talking about. For real though, it is pretty cool and even inspired by dragon enemy in Monster Hunter the Kirin. How about the Japanese kappa? Some people might know about this, but did you know they can be beaten by bowing their heads and letting the water in their open head fall out, or offer a cucumber to them? Kinda like Cuphead, isn't it? That's interesting. Anyways, yeah, that's pretty neat. Just like the kappa here, if you train it on guard, it can help out with harvest job. The basilisk is of European folklore. They say if a chicken egg is hatched beneath a toad, a snake of demonic force is born, and in the rim, it lives up to its reputation. A huge snake whose very presence kills plant life around it, not to mention petrify colonists unlucky enough to meet its gaze. Finally, the will-o-wisps of English folklore. Strange floating balls of fire that are said to lure travelers away in the dark, as if they were following a lantern fellow man never to be seen again. These ones are floating balls with the durability of a water bear. Seriously, immune to psychic and fire, resistance to extreme temperatures and toxicity. It's a good thing these asexually reproducing little dudes aren't naturally hostile. But if they are, well, as Bren puts it, always prepare magic missile. A tabletop veteran will always prepare missiles for will-o-wisps. There are, of course, more mythological creatures within the pack, but why not let you download and see what great legends you can find in there, and let us know your favorite mythological animals. I know we like the kitsune, those mischievous foxes, an inspiration for awesome Digimon. But yeah, while it's not the biggest of the alpha mods, nor the one with the most mechanics, I do think it's still of high quality and includes some great artwork anyone who downloads this will enjoy. Alright, time for some quality alpha memes. Alright guys, so this one works is that it's an expansion of vanilla expanded memes, but these ones are by Sog's admission a little sillier or out of the scope of the original mod. So think of this as an expansion of an expansion. Are we all clear? Alright, cool, let's get into it. Starting off the new ideology structures, we got Jewish origins, Kemetic or Egyptian styled steampunk, revival Jain origin, Sikh origin, Corsair, Neolithic, scavenger, and atheist. Yeah, new styles for new RP styled ideology. But this mod also includes additional options for other styles in VE and base game, adding even more weapon designs, armor, and furniture. Luckily for you, the ideology leader has a new ability, the change style ability. All you have to do is put the item on the floor, and if it can be changed, the leader can alter the style. Great if you find a good weapon or armor, but it's not in your colony's ideology style. Though the new styles do have a few more additions than just something that looks good, some come with new mechanics to play with. The Neolithics come with the megalith structure, one for every 3 colonists you have. The Corsair, while they have no real additions, I do have to mention the nutrient paste dispenser is now a grog dispenser, and that's funny to me. Scavengers have access to the scrapping ritual. You offer up a high technology item, and if you succeed at the ritual, you earn components from smashing up the item. Kemetic origins have the master architect role, a role rule that permits the pawn to turn piles of normal vanilla bricks into lovely, pristine limestone. A beautiful stone great for building or art. And more importantly, a once-a-week ability to instantly complete a started building project. Naturally, they also get the ability to make the pyramid. Be weird if they don't have that building. Obviously, it requires a lot of material, but it's beautiful. Atheism has pawns disliking other pawns who hold religious belief. Honestly, feels a little dickish since not every atheist IRL is bad, but hey, that's the mechanic here. But what about the actual memes included? Well, you got the vow of non-violence, making your pawns abhor all forms of violence, which do include eating meat, slavery, hunting, and slaughtering animals. The good thing you do get out of this meme is the non-lethal trap, a blunt version of the shop trap. Definitely hard mode for some Rimworld players, but I know it's possible, just not for me and my colonies. Artists is a lower difficulty meme. This one has your pawns in the colony demand art all throughout the colony, higher quality at higher expectations, and naturally, art tables get a boost in speed. Though, because of the desire of well handcrafted art, mechanical workbenches, and automation in VE mechanoids get slowed down. Sadists, or as the mod page points out, normal mode for most people is for those of us who love evil. Pawns love taking organs from still living pawns, death being caused no matter who is the one dying, corpses all around, and even if they are rotting. But of course, being known as those weirdos who hang around with dead people will give you a one-time hit of -50 to all faction reputation at the start of the game. Not to mention crafting quality instantly goes down one level. Madness is what happens when your pawns might be talking bad goju and deciding to start a cult. The pawns in this ideology will have a mental break threshold plus 25%, but their mood fluctuates anywhere from -15 to plus 15%. Then there is the psi-casting potential. All pawns in the ideology get a free Neuralink at the start of the game and have plus 10% boost to psychic sensitivity. But then there's the ritual of madness they can do. After success, it causes all pawns who went along with this to snap and go into a random mental break. Why would you do this? Because the catharsis gets a boost in mood values right up to plus 60, so yeah, maybe having a colony of weirdos isn't too bad. Youth is a meme about youngsters. Pawns who are below age 25 are respected by pawns of the ideology, while those of above 65 are hated. Yeah, guess youth is wasted on the young. Biological defilers focus on destroying organic life. Pawns get joy by killing animals either through normal means or slaughter. Pawns also abhor bonding and respect pawns who kill animals. You also get the precept despited animals, which lets you pick out certain animals that your ideology really hates. Conversely, there are the biological reconstructors where pawns will gain the ability to analyze animals and get a mood buff, releasing tamed animals back into the wild. How nice! To scan animals, you need an animal database, and the more animals you analyze, the happier your pawns will be. Monocetic is for those of us who want to try and achieve inner peace. Abstaining from alcohol, pawns get a mood debuff for drinking the devil's hooch, but after 3 days get a mood buff for abstaining. Though, for drugs, you can decide how strict you are, from total abstaining, medical use, or social use, so you can be slightly lenient on the other stuff. Like artists, automation is slowed down. Then, when it comes to physical love, you can prohibit it or leave it to married couples. Then barracks. Monocetic pawns love barracks. In fact, they love it so much they get the ascetic trait forced on them, so being in a dingy barracks makes them happy. At the very least, the meme doesn't prohibit fighting back, so you can arm your monks with higher tier weapons in case raiders think of you as easy prey. Bulwark is the meme for those who follow the best offense is a good defense philosophy, boosting a percentage of armor type depending on your choice at creation of the ideology. It makes pawns happy to be safer. Any pawn with metal armor gets a mood buff, without any armor, a mood debuff. Sharpshooters, meanwhile, prefer to be happy with ranged weapons and boost shooting accuracy and range. Can't get hit if they don't get to you after all. Gladiators, however, ooh, look at this guy, live for melee, upping melee hit chance, damage, and stun chance while reducing shooting skills. A good trio of combat specializations, that's always a good way to round out ideologies. Psychic vampirism is a meme based on taking the power from other psychic. With this meme, all colonists boost their psychic sensitivity by 25, though at a big cost of being unable to meditate to regain psi focus. To regain psi focus, you need to use use the new Death Knell ability, targeting a down pawn with one of your colonists and ripping the power out of them. If they have any psychic power, it will recharge Psi Focus through the form of some heat in them. If they have no powers, no problems, you get a mood buff and some healing done to the pawn, so it's not completely wasted. Garranen. Supremacy is all about the Garranen tree, boosting, pruning, speed, and even the combat abilities of the Dryads, though your pawns do lose combat abilities, letting the Dryads do the work. Plus, starting a new colony with the meme starts you with 3 unshackled Dryads who don't require the tree and act like any tamed animal. Finally, the Iconoclast meme, the anti-relic meme that has your pawns hating icons of religion, they refuse to make reliquaries, and if they see any on a map, they get upset. You unlock the relic smashing altar, and pawns can put relics in there and do the relic deconstruction ritual, completely destroying it. Every relic you destroy, the happier pawns get, though to be honest, it could be such a waste to lose good relics, but hey, you do you. But there is one last thing to talk about. That's this mod adds funeral changes. You now have multiple options for different funerals than just dropping them into the ground. You got stuff like cremation, launching them into the sky via a drop pod, entombing the mine in a pyramid, or just mummifying them to make a morbid art piece, or my favorite, forced into the nutrient paste to help keep the colony going even after death. This was actually a mod that I've wanted for a while, and I can't believe we just found it. These funerals are great, and I wish there were more options. Alpha or VE funerals, food for thought for the future. But my thoughts on this mod, definitely and always download. It goes with VE memes like peanut butter and jelly, and adds even more variety to the gameplay. So after a big mod, we got another big mod in the form of alpha genes. This mod adds, and I kid you, not more than 200 new genes. Now, I could go over every single gene in this video, but I feel like that would be boring, not to mention my writer would hate me for forcing him to write down every single gene, and I would hate him for making me read off every last one of them. So instead, let's talk about the stuff this mod adds around the biotech gene mechanic, instead of just, droning on and on. First off, you get a new way to find more genes, the biotech quest. Randomly, you will get alerted to labs with abandoned gene packs and tools. Head on over and collect your prizes. Though, watch out, if you stay too long, you might attract some others who had the same idea. You also have access to 3 types of packs now. The normal base game gene packs, which only have base game genes, the alpha packs, which hold nothing but the alpha gene packs, and finally the mixed packs, which can have a combo of both types. As for equipment that might also be found, you can find tools that play around with a pawn's genes. The gene remover has the ability to remove a random gene from a pawn. Endogenifiers can turn a xenogene into an endogene, with the xenogenifier turning an endogene into a xenogene. Yeah, tongue twister. The xenotype nullifier is extremely useful if you get a good traded pawn with a bad xenotype, as it reverts the pawn into a normal human. No more fun stuff for you. Finally, the germline mutator, gives a pawn a random endogene. Given how many genes you can get with this mod pack, you really have no idea what you could get, and that's saying a lot. Though the most important thing to come out of this mod is the new xenotypes. Awesome new types of colonists to add new ways to play and enjoy the Rimworld experience. This is what we will go a bit into detail on. First up is the fleet kind xenotype. These strange jellyfish-like pawns are great haulers, thanks to their floating ability, ignoring all terrain slowdown. Not to mention, they can make blue gel if you have alpha animals installed with this mod. Plus, you never have to worry about running out of pawns, they reproduce asexually. Yeah, kind of like the airflates. The downside to that is there is no real way to control that, so be prepared for floating babies. Also, be prepared for pain, since they explode on death. I mean, what did you expect from a xenotype that floats via gas packs? Honestly, a pretty useful xenotype even if they are living bombs. Helixians are slug people who love rotting corpses so much they can actually eat them without issue. Not to mention actually get strengthened by lung rot. Though, being slugs, they move slower in the cold, and being creatures who eat rotting corpses and such, pawns will find them repulsive. If you have one in the colony, be prepared for them to be alone. Very alone. Animusins are fox-like xenotypes who flourish in the cold weather and also have boosts to psychic abilities. Great for caster pawns, or if you are planning to move up north, since they don't have really any two major flaws. The Lapis are rock-like xenotypes who don't need to eat. Instead, they get their power from metal and can even use abilities that increase their metal needs. Not bad if you have a way to constantly refill metal stores. Kinda bad if you're limited. The Wretches are a sad xenotype as they are in constant change. Every day they get 10 new genes activated, and it can be literally any ones, even ones that might kill them or aren't compatible with each other. Very chaotic and not recommended. Poor creatures, put them down. Taukai are Deadpools, constantly full of cancer. That's not even a joke, they constantly grow carcinoma. But in exchange for the Wade Wilson powers, they can consume the carcinoma in exchange for healing attacks or buffs. Yeah, cancer-powered pawns. That's so crazy it might actually work. Hivelings are the insectoid xenotype with cool webbing abilities, flight in the air, and maybe some bad reputation with the non-insectoids. These guys are certainly welcome additions to any colony. Oh yeah, and they can pull a xenomorph and implant in a most unwilling prisoner to propagate your species. Yeah, maybe should have opened with that one. Mind Devourers are basically the mind flayers of D&D. Non-mind Devourers absolutely are repulsed by them. They also are extremely fragile and weak, but that's not a problem for them when they have great psychic potential and even their own mind attacks that don't need silence to use. To them, fighting back is as simple as using their heads. Elfries are what happens when an imp and a hussar have a child. Physically strong, winged and fire-based. These are your frontline melee fighters. They are aggressive and a bit fire-obsessed, but honestly, I'd love to have a couple of these guys on my bodyguard duty next time I visit the Rim, which could be soon. Finally, the last two alpha xenotypes are based on vanilla expanded xenotypes. The ocular kin are phytokin who have been corrupted by the ocular forests. They are great psychics, can reproduce by planting a child and letting it grow on their own in the ground. Not to mention are naturally good planters. Just don't set them on fire. They really don't like that. Same with the Sanophage, or Sanguiphage, or however we say it. Xenotype, here, the Malachi. These guys are extremely vulnerable to flames and the sun. But in exchange of that deadly allergy, you got a pawn who can actually incorporate genes from another pawn into them. Yeah, these guys can be pretty strong, though keep in mind other pawns are terrified and repulsed by them. But hey, at least they aren't so ugly they can kill somebody. That's actually a thing in the world of darkness if you play a Nosferatu. So some are so ugly they straight up kill people with a look. It's something. These xenotypes are awesome, and the genes, the mods add a ton of variety and replay value to the Rim. The best part, we might get even more updates and genes to this mod, maybe related to future VE xenotypes, yeah. Though one more thing before we move on, Alpha Genes has its own add-on in the form of the Alpha Genes Insectoid Mutation mod. Wow, that's a mouthful. This one just adds to the game's vanilla expanded insectoid mutations in the form of gene. You don't actually need Alpha Genes to use it, but it will only show up in the xenotype editor. If you have Alpha Genes and this, the new genes come in alpha and gene packs. Alright, time for the big one. The big kahuna of alpha mods. Alpha mechs, yeah. This adds a huge amount of new mechs to the game. Don't even need biotech to play with them either. If you have royalty, they show up in clusters. If you have biotech, well, get more mechs to make and fight. Originally, the mechs were included into alpha animals, but now they are back and ready to ruin your days. With stuff like the Aura, a melee attacker who can regenerate damage. Fireworms, who are inferno-making monsters. The Siegebreaker, who can bombard you from afar. Oh yeah, and the Demolisher that makes the Termite mech seem like a simple problem. And that's just scratching the surface of some of the threats you got. In biotech, you normally have 3 raid bosses you can summon to your base. Well, with this mod, you get new bosses to summon and even higher tiered chips and stuff to do with them. The Infernus is the bringer of doom who can summon orbital strikes upon their foes. The War Empress creates melee mechs and has a deadly melee attack of her own. Finally, the Apoptosis, a nightmare of a mech who can attack with acids. Some claim they can even drain souls. Also resurrect fellow mechs, which is always a pain. The drops from them will be important for future gear and even some mechs you can make. And boy howdy, there is a lot. This mod includes a ton of mod support with other mods. Alpha Bees has the Apiarist, the mech that deals with beekeeping jobs, very helpful if you have a ton of apiarities and not enough pawns. Geneticors do work with the vanilla expanded genetics doing genetic engineering jobs. Scriptomondatons are for VE books, able to do any writing job, which, hey, more books, more fun on the rim. Oceanus, if you have VE fishing, you can do fishing jobs, something that is extremely appreciated if you always need food. Plus, I like how it looks like a boat. Sanguinarius, mechs can drain any down pawns of their hemogen and store it within them. Only around if you have VE. Saniphages, these guys might be useful to top up the blood collection. Nucleotrons actually appear if you have rimatomics, doing any nuclear insertion or extraction jobs, meaning your pawns won't have to risk anything when dealing with those rods. And for the last bit of mod support, if you have VE mechanoids, pristine variants of the alpha mechs will appear in their raids if you let them upgrade. But hey, do the research. Alpha hardware upgrade, and you can make your own pristine mechs, which is a pretty cool thing to do if you ask me. For other mechs you can make, there are pristine assemblers and slurpedes you can make that do their creation faster than wild variants found in alpha animals. The Culinarius, which is an expensive mech that needs a high subcore, but with a 15 in cooking, it'll be like having Gordon Ramsay in the kitchen of your colony. Turbo cleaners are better clean bots that hover, meaning they move faster, obviously great for any colony to have the flying Roomba. Then there is the pristine Strider, a great haul bot, both in actually doing hauling jobs around the colony, but being a good caravan help, actually having more caravan carrying capacity than what its body looks like it could carry. Interesting. And that's just the utility bots. There are a ton of combat bots you can create. Yeah, this mod provides a ton of different mechs for combat. Light stuff like Blitzkrieg for a bomber type robot to help weaken group. The Artilleon, who can switch between a small arms weapon or grenades, to heavier stuff, the Legate, who is heavily shielded and can do heavily ranged attacks. Or maybe you want a Sagittarius, who can ranged attack or even stun enemies. You honestly have a lot of options with each of the different mechs. It's almost overwhelming, but at least with all these different options, this does mean you can fill in any gaps in your defenses or offensive line. The Starfire that requires the quantum matrix chip, the Apoptrios, drops. This thing is made of wind as a highly destructive force. If you make it far enough to make it have fun just raining death down on foes at long range, you've earned it. But yeah, not really going to go through every individual robot. You can see here how many you got and how they do feel a bit samey yet different. Really, the close variety is so you always have different options and playstyles to support a player, which I totally respect. Doesn't mean it makes it easy to go over everything. Though there is more to this mod, far more. We got equipment your more mechanically inclined pawns can wear, like the Mech Master and Mech Breaker armors. Perfect for endgame, as they both provide high defense with more bandwidth. You're gonna need that if you plan to have a Skynet level of forces. There are also multiple accessory packs that increase bandwidth even further, our gift to you if you order now. Then in buildings, plenty of relays to summon the new boss mechs, the new band nodes that give a +2 and 5 band to bandwidth with the option to change their values in the mod options. We love that here. The multiple different mech boosters to put around the base to help any mechs that go near them in being that more useful. This is on top of the mech disruptor that messes with enemy mech stats if they go into their radius. Last but not least, in buildings is the Void Link mech recharger, meant to recharge any of the boss mechs you might make. After all, special mechs deserve a special charger. Now this is the part where I say that's the end. But color me surprised when the vanilla expanded vehicles showed up during our script making process. You know what that means? Alpha vehicles. Oh yeah, we're still going for a while yet. As of writing, it's only the Neolithic vehicles, but these are great for early era playthroughs when you want to have some vehicle support. The main reason for this mod is that they are tier 0 vehicles, meaning they are easy to make and have no research locking them from your colony, though they have 2 traction types, human powered and animal powered. If it's a human-powered, the driver will get hungrier and tired 50% faster, but the passengers won't be affected. If the vehicle can have one, that is, of course. For animal-powered, the animals are fueled by hay and kibble and will constantly eat through fuel, even when not in use. Luckily, if you run out of fuel, it won't kill the animals, but they will refuse to work. As for the vehicles themselves, they give a good variety for early game colonies, but it's tribal or medieval. Wheelbarrows for helping with carrying cargo around, rickshaws and palanquins to carry other around in some style, you know, even some offensive vehicles with the haucha and the war chariot. The haucha being an inaccurate missile barrage, but hey, could save your life, especially if you know how to say the word better than me. Then plenty of vehicles to make going from point A to point B easier, with the chariot, ox cart, covered carriage, and dog sled, though they are a bit limited, usually preferring to be on roads already made. It is early vehicles after all. Finally, they include ways to really leave the map, with an outrigger canoe for water towels and a hot air balloon. The balloon can't hold much and only a driver and passenger, but if you really need to drop pod somewhere, it's a good early way to do it. Finally, new wood patterns for vehicle looks, which is always nice. And that's it. We made it to the end. 7 awesome alpha mods. Each one contributes to Rimworld in their own special way. Seriously, these are some of the highest quality of mods on the workshop at gold standards. Sorry, if you're watching this, add more stuff. These mods are so cool, and the mechanoids are my favorite. And add more buildable mechs, yeah, like a mech to make mechs, yeah, or a mechanoid chinchilla. That would make my day. It could do animal tending. I kid, of course. We know it would be a mechanoid cow. I'd like to thank all the patrons that make videos like this possible. We couldn't do it without you guys. I appreciate everybody that kind of helped us out after my surgery. I'm happy to be back making videos, and this is the first banger we have to give to you guys since all of that. So I hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you in the next one.